Guys, so it's pretty late right now as I'm recording this, and it's really hot, so I have the air conditioning on. So if I sound kind of tired, it's because I am, and if you hear some background noise, it's because I guess it's because there is. But hopefully this video won't be too long, but if you could give it a listen, I would really appreciate it. And I'm just making this video because I really wanted to catch up with you guys on everything that's been going down, because it's been a pretty eventful like month. And I haven't really had as much time as I'd wanted to be able to tell you guys all that's going on. If you're on the Discord, or you follow me on Twitter, or you read my descriptions or things like that, you might have an idea of bits and pieces of what's been going on. But I kind of want to make this video to talk about like everything that's been happening and what I kind of want to do moving into the future and things like that. And I know it's another Shizuma update video, but this will be the update video to end all update videos, I think. But it's been a pretty eventful past like month or so. I moved out from living with my family in Los Angeles to go to Texas for college, and I'm actually taking a year off before I go to college so that I can get in-state residency to pay in-state tuition. Because minimizing the amount of debt I would have from school was kind of like a big thing for me. And the difference between having in-state tuition and out-of-state tuition is actually pretty significant. And so to get in-state tuition, I just have to live here for a year and be employed here for a year. So I'm currently like looking for a job on the job hunt and stuff. But other than that, I'm living out here. I have family who are from here, so it's not that weird and foreign to me. But I mean, it is still like a big change, you know, from Los Angeles to a smaller town in Texas that I'm living in the meantime before school. But besides that, this month has been a lot of like settling in, getting used to the place, trying to situate myself and figure things out, which has been what's eaten up most of my time. This month of since I've moved here, and you know, the month or so prior, kind of getting ready to move out here because it was kind of a last minute thing, has been a little time consuming. But that being said, you know, I'm trying to put out right now, while I look for a job, 1 video a week minimum, which has been going well so far. And I'm trying to stream too on my Twitch. So go to my Twitch. I've been trying to stream about twice a week, sometimes more. I've actually been having a lot of fun with that. But I think one thing like I kind of just wanted to touch on in making this is that this past month or so has definitely been the most stressful and scary part of my life. And that being said, it's also been very exciting and I've had a lot of fun with this, but I would definitely say that I've learned a lot from this whole process. And if there's one thing that you guys could take away from this video, like if there's anyone watching this who's dealing with what I kind of had to go through, it's that more often than not, things will not go according to how you plan them. And that's not to say that you can't get what you want, but more that the route you'll take on the way toward getting what you want is usually going to be a lot like scarier and rockier and way more difficult than kind of how you would like it to go. Like with moving out here, for example, like my plan initially was to just move out here and immediately go to school. That was my initial plan. After trying really hard to apply to places and get into schools, you know, I was really freaked out about getting admitted, but I got admitted. And so my plan was to just go to school. But then about a month before high school ended for me, my stepdad got laid off of his job. And that was actually a really big hit income wise, like to my family. And so he immediately started looking for a new job, and but you know, sometimes that can take a week to find a new job, sometimes it can take a month or two. And I had saved up, I had been saving for about a year or two for school before this, but to kind of cover what was being lost in the meantime until I could find a new job, I kind of had to take money out of what I had saved. And both my mom and my stepdad really didn't want me to, but what was I gonna do? You know, like move out, go to school, and like not cover, because it was more than just a small like, oh, we'd have to start budgeting, you know, it was a big hit. And so that took a lot of money out of what I had saved for school, to the point where when I looked back, I realized I wasn't going to really be able to afford the college I wanted to go to now, at least not without accruing like a lot of debt. And that was something I really didn't want to do. And so that was, I was like freaking out for a little bit. I had no idea what to do. And I started looking at a bunch of other options, like what I could do, what I could figure out, but just there was nothing really. I mean, there's nothing to really help out and try to cover that with me being able to still go to school. So that was like a big thing for me because I really wanted to go to school right away. I was really excited, and I ended up not being able to, but I looked into getting in-state residency at Texas, and I saw how much that would help save, to the point where if I did that, the money I did have saved would be able to cover a year. It would just mean I would have to take a year off and get residency first. And so that sounded like an okay idea. I mean, moving to Texas, like to just live there for a year wasn't my first choice, but then I was thinking like, well, where am I going to live? You know, how am I going to pay for my rent and this and that? And luckily I have an uncle who lives here, and my uncle actually has a unit that he wasn't renting out to anybody, that he said I could stay at if I agreed to work on his farm once a week. And if I did that, he would help cover a lot of my rent. I still have to pay a bit, but he would do that for me. And so I'm living right now. That's where I'm living right now. I'm kind of like out in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of a small town far out in the middle of nowhere in Texas. But I mean, it's cheaper rent. And I work on a farm once a week taking care of cows. But you know what? It's like, it's worth it, I guess. It's not the fanciest living, but it'll do. But I mean, throughout all of that, like obviously like now looking back on it, it's not too bad, but you know, throughout the whole thing, it was just constant, like just not what I wanted to do. You know, like I didn't want to work on a farm. I didn't want to live out in a small town in Texas. I just wanted to go to school, and there was just so many things that were happening that really kind of like deterred me and made me kind of just think like, man, maybe this just isn't gonna happen. There's just so many things are getting in the way, like, because like now that everything's been figured out, it's fine. But think back from my perspective, like I didn't know how I was gonna pay for college after that, and then it was okay because I found out about in-state residency, but then for in-state, I had no idea where I was gonna live. And then my uncle helped me out. But then I thought my uncle's going to help me out, but how am I going to pay rent? And then he told me about the farm. So it was constant just me going like, well, even though this worked out, like how am I going to solve this and that issue? And it was just me constantly stressing and trying to figure things out. And there were so many times where I just felt really overwhelmed and incapable of fixing whatever issue came up, that I just wanted to give up so many times. But one thing that kept coming back to me was actually something that my grandpa would say to me a lot. And he actually passed away actually at like a really bad time, because it was the day I dropped my dad off at the airport, because he had come out to Texas with me to help me move out. And so he helped me move things in for like 2 days, and then I took him to the airport and dropped him off. And so that was when I was like really on my own for the first time, where I'm like, wow, yeah, like my whole family's gone now, like it's just me out here now. And so that was already kind of rough. But then right when I get home and I'm sitting there like for the first time, like living completely by myself, like thinking like, man, all right, on my own now. Right when I got home, I got a call from my grandma, who was just like crying and freaked out. And she was saying that my grandpa was in the hospital and that he wasn't going to be around for more than like, you know, a day or two longer. And so that was just really bad timing. And especially at that point, I had felt really just like, man, this just all sucks so much. But one thing that he had always said to me that I thought about a lot, especially on this whole time moving, was and I don't think this was like his original quote or anything like that, but he would read a lot, and he would always tell me things that, you know, that he read about and that resonated with him. And one thing that he would say to me a lot is, if you can't stop thinking about it, don't stop working toward it. And throughout this whole time, that honestly was something that stuck with me a lot. I mean, I was really wanting to go to school here, and it just kind of goes back to what I was saying. Like, things did not go at all how I had planned, and there were so many times where I had thought that this was just kind of the end of it. And I mean, even outside of the school, this whole example of me moving, since I've moved here, I mean, there have been things that I've talked about, but also things that I haven't talked about that have just been really stressful, and they've just freaked me out and made me think like maybe what I wanted isn't what's going to happen. And something that I need to remember more often, and that I feel like is something that's hard to keep in mind, but something that people really need to keep in mind as often as they can when they are doing things, is that just because things don't go perfectly how you envision them to go does not mean that it's over or that you're not gonna get to where you want things to be. And like, I don't want to sound cheesy or anything. I'm sorry. It's probably because I'm tired as fuck. But seriously, like, this whole experience and this whole transition in my life has just like really reinforced the idea that if you keep at it and don't let a few difficult moments get in the way and completely stop you, you can get to where you want to be. And it might not be like the most glamorous route or exactly how you wanted it to go, but you can still get there. And there's still a lot of things in my life, like even things that I haven't talked about in this video, that I really care about and that are uncertain and stuff, and that I need to look at kind of more through that lens. If you can't stop thinking about it, don't stop working toward it. You can still get there. Anyways, thank you guys for watching and sticking around. It means the world to me. I promise, like, I'll be a lot more awake and a lot less sappy in the next video. Also, fucking follow me on Twitch. Thanks for watching. My name's Ben, aka Shizuma, and I'm out.